Suddenly the conversation goes from at the start of this year talking about a few thousand jars and lids to we need to do a purchase order of 1 million. And that's a huge jump in just a few months of starting a business.
Meghan Markle's lifestyle empire is facing what critics are calling Jamagadana. Reports now suggest that her brand, as ever, could be staring at millions of pounds in losses, with insiders allegedly fearing bankruptcy and unsold stock piling up faster than it can be sold. And if these claims are true, it raises one huge question. Is Meghan's California dream beginning to collapse? Just months ago, Meghan was promoting As Ever as a major success story. During interviews, she spoke confidently about expanding production and reportedly increasing orders dramatically.
Suddenly the conversation goes from at the start of this year talking about a few thousand jars and lids to we need to do a purchase order of 1 million. And that's a huge jump in just a few months of starting a business.
But now, according to several reports, the reality behind the scenes appears far less glamorous. The biggest problem? Time. Because many of As Ever's products, particularly jams, teas, and flour sprinkles, have expiration dates. And according to reports, much of that stock could become unsellable by next summer. The term Jamageddon has now emerged after claims that millions of pounds worth of inventory could go to waste. Some estimates suggest losses could exceed £3.7 million on jam products alone. Flour sprinkles, another heavily promoted item, could reportedly add another $1 million in losses. And that's because sales figures revealed through a temporary website glitch earlier this year painted a worrying picture. According to reports, sales during that period appeared surprisingly slow. One bundle containing fruit spreads was reportedly selling only around a couple dozen units a day. Flour sprinkles? Even slower. Critics argue that at those rates, huge amounts of inventory could remain unsold before expiration dates arrive. Industry observers say the problems may have started with Meghan's decision to massively increase production. Instead of maintaining limited inventory, she reportedly ordered stock on a much larger scale. But demand may simply not have matched expectations. The brand initially relied heavily on scarcity marketing, creating excitement around products selling out quickly. However, critics argue that while scarcity creates buzz, it doesn't guarantee long-term repeat customers. And once the novelty wears off, sustaining sales becomes much harder. New crisis facing Duchess, as insiders tell Alison Bolshoff how she's been ditched by a major partner, and why it could spell the end of her ambitions. Yet behind the PR-approved images, a looming crisis brews, one which rather belies her image as a global power player. And it relates to something dazzlingly ordinary: the best before dates on her much-vaunted range of jam. Because the Duchess is facing a serious problem for anyone in food retail: how to shift your stock before it goes off. For I can reveal that all of Meghan's jams, teas, and tins of flour sprinkles are set to go pretty much simultaneously out of date at the end of next summer. To put it bluntly, our analysis of her recent sales figures indicates that there's more chance of King Charles taking a swim in a pool of her homemade conserve than her selling all her stock in time. It may seem prosaic, but astonishingly, this jam jar megadon could see Meghan's lifestyle brand, As Ever, face losses of more than $5 million, £3.7 million on her jams alone. Those rapidly expiring tins of flour sprinkles could also cost a cool $1 million. What makes matters worse is that last year, Meghan made a fateful decision to bet the house on a rapid expansion of her range, steeply hiking production, only for sales to then seemingly plummet. To say all this is galling for the Duchess is an understatement, because she has pinned so much to it being a success. Indeed, she is heavily personally associated with the jam range, right down to her handwritten calligraphy labels that adorn the first pots. Another research company says traffic to the site has dropped by 24% in a single month. With less online traffic come fewer sales, which seems to be borne out by the fact that Meghan is no longer using the fulfillment giant SnowCommerce to handle her orders and shipping. Instead, in what looks like a drive to save money, she has downgraded to the online platform Shopify, which is mostly associated with micro businesses and hobby traders. It has a competitive rate of just $29.22 a month for handling transactions. In contrast, Snow Commerce takes around 30% for its services and is also thought to require a minimum level of trading. It's perhaps now clear why Meghan has never restocked her cake and crepe mixes, which have a shelf life of only 6 months, and why she has launched new iterations of candles, which last far longer. Commercial jams, though, have a shelf life of not more than 2 years. Ditto herbal teas. It adds up to the picture of a brutal reckoning of expired goodies, all of which makes Netflix's decision to sever ties with Meghan's brand in March this year look even more like good business sense. While Meghan said it had always been the intention for the streamer to go its own way once it had supported her successful launch. A source told me at the time. The issue was sales in the end. The product was not taken up in the way that people had hoped. The jam thing became totemic. There was just all this jam. We had thought there would be more to it. The failure was more to do with the product and the business model, which didn't work, than a people thing about Meghan being difficult. Although I hear there was an element of both. Can the brand continue under such pressure? I can reveal that Netflix, originally her partner in the business and her only investor, amputated its ties with her so thoroughly that all inventory, meaning any unsold stock, was handed back to her in January, some 3 months before they announced that they were done working with her. It means that Meghan's business will have to absorb and deal with the coming losses entirely on its own. Sources confirm that Netflix has no remaining financial interest in flogging her stuff. Inventory and expiry concerns. Significantly, Meghan's representatives do not demur at the idea that much of her inventory will be unsellable from the West End of next summer because it will have expired. Meanwhile, a visit to the Godmother's bookstore in Montecito, which is still the only physical retail store stocking her products, confirms that the teas and sprinkles are indeed all going out of date at a point between June and September 2027. An order of jams to an address in the U.S. this week appears to tell the same story. Meanwhile, it can be revealed that Meghan's relationship with Gwyneth Paltrow's brand guru, Devon Pedgewater, is also over. Sales figures. This means that come June next year, when the products will be at or near expiry, there could still be 123,544 trio boxes remaining, with a retail value of $5.18 million. Repeating the calculation for the tins of flour sprinkles, the only product really used by Meghan on her Associated with Love, Meghan TV show, they went from 80,391 to 80,368 in 2 days, selling around 11 tins a day. That would leave 74,340 unsold tins next June, with a retail value of $1.2 million. Happily for Meghan, much of the retail value of her inventory lies in her expensive wines. The figures indicate that she had 6,871 bottles of Napa Valley Brut, 46,428 of Sauvignon Blanc, and 23,972 bottles of rosé. That represents a retail value of more than $3 million, 2.24 million pounds, which will still be good to sell next summer and beyond. Variety magazine reported in March that she had $10 million in unsold. As ever, stock and these figures would certainly fall into line with that. Financial pressure. But as talk swirls again of a financial crisis for the Sussexes, with their expensive Montecito lifestyle, including a mansion and security, it looks as if the imperative to sell, sell, sell has never been stronger, especially when it comes to jams and teas. You almost start to wonder if the couple's Californian adventure has a shelf life too. Website and fashion sales. Her Australian tour also marked her trying to make money from her style via the one-off website, which sells her looks and gives her a slice of any sales. Looks from 2 of her most recent Instagram posts on June 9th were included by her on the site this week. Among them, jeans and a denim shirt from the clothing line run by her friend Tracy James, married to former Paramount boss Brian Robbins. Of almost 90 items posted by her so far, fewer than half a dozen are sold out. It's not clear, though, how many items she has sold or what money she has made, and those figures will not be made public. Her friends warn against writing her off just yet. One said, "The Newsweek story about her website traffic falling has a lot of inaccuracy, and I think we can all agree that polls have forever been a source of misleading information." Adding to the pressure are reports that website traffic has dropped significantly. Some analytics companies reportedly observed a decline of around 24% in just 1 month. Lower traffic generally means fewer potential buyers, and some commentators believe this is evidence that interest in the brand is cooling. Another development raising eyebrows involves fulfillment and shipping. Reports claim As Ever is no longer using premium fulfillment services and has shifted to Shopify, a platform commonly used by smaller businesses. Critics say this move may reflect efforts to cut costs. Meanwhile, several products, including cake and crepe mixes, have reportedly never been restocked. Some observers believe the short shelf life of these products made them too risky,